Hello, checking, checking. Check, check. One, two, three. Hopefully this doesn't look too bad. All right, gonna be doing the flip through of the book. Let me post a thing online, I guess, about it. All right. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Hi, everybody. My name is Victor Alpe. I am the writer and illustrator of the Hugh Marks, and I just completed the first full issue of the comic, and now I'm going to be going to Heroes Con in Charlotte, North Carolina, with the pages, and that will be a place where I will probably likely let go of some pages for the first time ever in my life. Give sell some comic pages if anyone's. I've already sold two, which is why I'm saying it at all. So I will be letting go of these pages. So I wanted to flip through the book together once, recorded for posterity, and just talk about everything that went into making it for myself. I don't really care if anyone needs to watch this or wants to watch this. So start with the opening this thing. This is like all the back matter stuff, like a lot of the typography for the book that I did by hand. Like the back of the book and stuff is in here. I just wanted to keep it all together. This panel is a paste in towards the end of the book, and we'll get to that. Why it's there and not in the book. So anyway, this is the first page of the book. The cover doesn't really fit in here, so it's not in here. Actually, ooh, I Should have pulled it while we were talking about it. What? Oh, okay. Anyway, that's gonna be great for the video. So cover's not in here, um, but we do have uh, the pages. So this is the first page, and I can actually show you like where all this came from because it came very late in this sketchbook's life. I literally drew basically this exact page, and I've like done this before, but I'm going to do it again for posterity. That's the original concept for the page in my sketchbook. I was doing like a page a day, and this is kind of one of the places I started. A lot of sketching, and then I was like, I need to do pages, so let's start doing pages, and then started getting ideas, and then right around that time is when I was like, I need to start making this. There's a lot of conceptual stuff in here that went into the book. I was doing a lot of drawing of the hue marks. I was working on Magic Revolver at the time. A lot of stuff was going on when I was making this book. Yeah, a lot of hue mark stuff in this. A lot of other stuff too, but I was definitely trying to figure out what to do with the hue marks, how to take it to the next step, the next level, working on like backgrounds, things with backgrounds, trying to place them in locations to see how they fit. That's funny. This is like one of the first like school drawings of him at school with like other students and stuff. I was messing with the idea of making everyone else like little kids. Well, they're little kids, but also like they'd be drawn as adults, so they just like stick out like sore thumbs. But that didn't end up happening, as you'll see. Lots of concepts, lots of stuff going on in here. A lot of sad boy drawings. This was my 24-hour drawing thing. This is a huge concept piece right here, kind of behind the scenes of the big egg. Anyway, that's in there. So, first page, I had the idea of blacking out the bottom and adding this like effect, like as if this was like a big tube. But everyone that has talked to me about it says that they love the page how it is, and it I don't know. Oftentimes I would throw what other people say into the wind and not give a shit and just do it anyway, ruin it even. But I kind of agree with them. It does look really good just like this, so I'd never messed with it. So it is as it is there. Pages 2 and 3. Best page ever. Yeah, Jerk is one of the people who basically made me want to not do anything to it, even though I kind of had visions to like kind of suggest this basically this space down here, how it's black. So this panel, this is like the first page up here, and then it's like extended down to the bottom. So he's like falling all the way down this page, and he lands. I hope the lighting is okay. I've tried to make this as best as I possibly can. I'll block stuff as we need to, but I hope this looks okay. I really like these pages, and I was going through a lot, really having a tough time figuring out what to do with myself in comics, in art, my career, my life in general. So these pages came out of me in a time where I like really needed to show myself that I could do it. and so I feel really a certain type of way about these pages. I didn't know how to make a comic. I mean, I knew structurally how to make a comic, put panels, do drawings inside the panels, make sure that they've, like I understood the structure, but I'd never put one together myself, written, drawn, composed, like all that stuff, like thinking of every single thing. So I gave myself a wide berth when it came to the story, um, and you'll see how I set that up as we go along. But basically, I am trying to. Where do we start a comic? Where are we? I have no idea. Okay, so there's nowhere. All right, we're gonna make a comic anyway. So there's nothing. There's no location. It's just characters. So he's there and gets closer, and now he's like falling. Okay, cool. Page one is done. Figured it out. Took care of that problem, and like that was like a solution that I didn't think I didn't know whether or not I could get away with it or not. I just did it because I needed to make this comic or get a real job, you know. So he's falling, and I just like kind of went from there. This is all just stream of consciousness, me kind of talking to myself literally about like what do we do next? Well, let's go this way that's obviously marked to go that way. I was like, yeah, but why? What if it's no good over there? And I feel like a lot of this stuff sort of translates um, in a way to life in general. At least it does for me. Feels like it anyway. Um, so yeah, okay. Well, we're like now in this weird dark tube place, and we come outside, and there's all this light, and now there's all these people. Okay, there's other people we have to interact with. That usually happens in a comic. So here we are, and these people are kind of monstrosities. Why? I don't know. To create conflict because I didn't know what to do. So they're running, but they don't know why, and they don't know from what. Like I was running from making comics. Why I didn't know, and so this is comics. All this is comics, and this is like two sides of a coin dealing with the situation. One's running, and one's gonna turn around and punch it. And sometimes that works, and sometimes that doesn't. And how do you deal with that situation? One character, the other. Well, once you do this, how does that make you feel? Like, I don't know, man. I'm really, really, honestly, very conceptually going through this. The way that I went through making it. Honestly, I sort of had some thumbnails that were a bit looser than this, and I cleaned them up eventually to here. Yeah, this is the original thumbnails of the page of this comic right here. This is the first page. This is like that spread right there of them talking to each other in that dark place. This is where they come and meet the people. And I just was like, what happens? John intro, Chase, uh, John counters or something. I can't even read what it says anymore. But this is me thumbnailing this whole thing, and it doesn't even look like that anymore. It's not even none. A lot of this stuff got changed and looped out or rearranged, changed out. This is almost halfway now in the other part of the book, and it didn't really get used until much later. This is me kind of shitting on myself. Like, if I'm not gonna do comics, like what the fuck are you gonna do? Like, you just wasted all this time. You're not even gonna try. So, yo, you don't know hunger. You're not you don't know what it is to struggle. You're just a whiny little baby. Just roll over and die. It starts getting weird. It's been weird, obviously, but and then we're back. We're getting rebooted here. Back in the water. We did it. And this was the original Fluke 12 pages right here with this big tank page. And that was it. And I felt like $1,000,000 after that. And then it took me like a year and change to do the rest. So here we go. New stuff. I took this page here and I flipped it. Right? Big panel, middle panel, middle panel, middle. Anyway, I flipped it and I blacked out all the things and like begins simulation 15. And the only reason I chose 15 is because I was riffing off of Amazing Fantasy number 15. So I was just like, let me just throw that's the number for that reason and that reason alone. Title page. This will be flipped in the inverted. I should say the color, the black and white will be inverted in the book, and it'll say written and illustrated by Victor Alpe, edited by Meredith Laxton. And this is where we start the new pages. I added this to kind of give the page turn, to put things where I wanted it, basically, so that I wouldn't have to like add empty pages to the book so that it flipped properly. So we've got a bunch of oh boy, so many nods. I don't even know if we can go through them right now because I just want to make this like a quick and simple flip through. And it's already not that. But Jerk Comics is on here, Grixley, of Grixley Cola, and Grixley Zine magazine, comic magazine, uh, Pee Pee Poo Poo by um, Ignatz award winning author, Attaboy, Tony McMillan, Tales to Enlighten, Meredith is on here. We've got the Juggy and Rhino. Horp is a character of my friend Ujis. Umbrella Miller is my friend. This is my friend Anthony, sitting here reading. Um, he's one of the few people who is like actually in the book, I guess. Even though I didn't really draw his face or anything. Red Room. We got Space Ghost in here. DIS. Dis is by my friend Kendrick. This is the thing on my hat. That's right there. We got Gun Viking by Ewan. I tried to include every single person that was in the book in the back of the book, so all of them should more or less be in here. Evil by James Edward Clark. Spawn. This is Dynamite Diva, which is like a character by a comic artist. Kankor is on this kid's hat. Um, Gut Ghost dress shirt, which is like a super quadruple entendre play on words. Because he has also done a bit where one of his shirts is like, is it a shirt or is it a dress? So I made this Gut Ghost shirt dress thing, which I hope he actually makes in real life because I think it would be super cool and stylish. Um, but anyway, I've totally he saw it and I've given him permission to use that. OSM, which is Outer Space Man. This says Supyrex here, but in the book it's gonna say Skyrex because that's what the name is now of the book. This is my friend Mike Becker's property that he has like changed a million times because he, like me, is trying to kind of make sure that his stuff is good before it comes out and almost to a fault. So we're trying to work on that so that we get his stuff out into the world. Like this is going to be soon, very soon, like in a week. It's going to be here, I think. Drinking some water to get through this. Okay, so this page took me a long time. This was kind of, and it also, I did it all in Micron, which I realized was, I was sort of having a problem with. I didn't like the way that it was looking compared to what I did here, and I wasn't really sure why. And then I realized it's because I did most of this in a pen and nib. I like took these 12 pages like super seriously, and I drew most of the comic in a dip pen, and I was like not using any sort of cheaper tools really. Brush and ink. And then I did this, and this just kind of involved everything that I had at my disposal. And then this I started making this year. So I did most of this in Micron, and I was like, there's something about this that's like not really landing for me. And then that's when I moved on, and we started doing this page, and I was still working with Microns here. Call back to the other part of the book. This was one of the challenges I set for myself with this was how do I not just continue the book, but how do I make it so that we actually are telling a story? So these guys here, when they meet him, they like are turning into disgusting Hugh Marks monster, and they're like, Hugh Marks. This is when they start running, right? Jack sees John, and John sort of has this flash. And I redrew this. This is not like me just pasting in the same thing. I redrew a whole new panel, uh, and I made it even more grotesque, to the point where it doesn't even look like a Hugh mark anymore. Uh, so he's like, he sees that, and he's like, yeah, no thanks. So he walks away. And this is where we kind of have a little bit of conflict. Is like Jack thinking that he's sort of ruined his friendship here, or that his friend is mad, so it's like giving him this anxiety, and then he runs into a Dean type character. And he's just telling him to fall in line and do what you need doing and blah blah blah. And Jack is like, fuck that guy. These are some friends from Savannah: Edgar, Ben, Craig. This kid's face is a missing note from Pokemon. Baboon, Jamie Jones. I was still trying to reference all the people that didn't fit um, on the first page, and still just actually big reference here. That's Ultra Mega. That's the only reference on this page, all by itself, right on the back of this kid's sweater. I gave the kid a like a duffel bag just so I could draw Ultra Mega's face on his back, and very small, and probably I even forget I drew it there sometimes, so I don't even know if anyone will notice. But yeah, that's there, and there's a bunch of stuff written in here like Robbie Woo for Robbie Sharkey, the first Kickstarter backer, and also one of our loyal homies who's hopefully around or gets to see this at some point. But he's written in here. Uh, there's a bunch of stuff. Doug, all the characters from Doug, or at least the main characters from Doug here. Skeeter, Doug, Roger Kloss, Patty Mayonnaise. This is Meredith, little Meredith character. All these signs are different from what's here, so these say a bunch of weird stuff too. It's like goop guy down here. I really liked this guy right here. This page was a doozy to work on. I worked on this basically all night, hanging out with the Ink and Drink Long Beach people over Discord. They were, since they're in California, they're like 3 hours behind me, so they were up late while I was working. I was like, yeah, let me hang out with these guys. I've been enjoying my time hanging out with those guys and meeting them, and a lot of them are in this book now, and I'm really thankful to them for contributing uh, fan art and commissions and all that to the book. But all of these tack marks are actually scratched out of the ink. I painted this whole thing black, and then I took an X-Acto knife and I scratched out every single one of these tack marks all the way down to the bottom here, except for where there's type. And then I worked into where the type could be seen behind the type. I worked that in too with a knife, because as much as I don't want it to be about me, this book is about the inside of my head. This is like literally, we were joking around that this is like a cross section of my brain. Like this is like the view from the top of my skull when you cut it open, you know. So this is the villain's helmet. I'm gonna be explaining and spoiling a lot of stuff, so be careful watching this. The illusion of choice. I think that's oftentimes what you get out of school. I think school is really great and really important, and you should take it seriously. I didn't, but also there's a lot of people I think that are stuck in the system, and that's kind of what this is. This is all about. This is like being trapped in here for God knows how long, and like this is the first issue. So what's this all about? If this is issue one, anyway, we get snapped back to reality. Hall monitor character, probably one of my favorites from the book. Just this weird kid in fucking rain boots and big hat that doesn't like have eyes, and then he's got like eyes on the back of his head, little weird human eyes hybrid. It's explaining to him about the schedule and how he can use it to get to the room, but he is late. Bell's rung, and it's like, ooh, you don't want to be late to school. You're gonna miss all the important things. But it's his first day, so he gets off with a warning. How nice, isn't that nice? To be let off with a warning on your first day. Creaks open the door. I really wanted to make sure that I messed around with the sound effects and the words and just doing all the lettering stuff that I did in the first book, but just I guess on a different level now. All these like goop characters here. I was like struggling the whole time with, do I draw real people? Do I draw kids? Do I draw, is this high school, college, middle school? Is it like some weird place with everybody? Like, what do I do? And I figure like these people over here are all like these goop monsters, so they can be just about anything, right? So we've got all these weird little, almost Princess Mononoke tree spirit like bobblehead characters. A bunch of them. I was like starting to like get have fun with some of them and twist their faces and make them really really weird and uncomfortable looking. A lot of text. This guy's just going off on this kid. Fucking Earthworm Jim reference in there. Some nonsense about doing a headstand to sit down. John's asleep. I didn't know what to do with the wall texture here, so I decided to add everybody at that time who had contributed to the Kickstarter. I decided to write everybody's name in there, and I went through the list like twice, plus adding like a few extra people who aren't with us anymore, close relatives, all that nice stuff. There's a lot of people in there, but we knocked it back for the print so that you can see the characters a little bit better. But there's BPRD, Love and Rockets on the back of this kid's shirt. This kid over here has Rumble on his shirt, and then this is Street Angel on this kid's most deadliest girl alive, DGA on the shirt. Shout outs to all of the people I've referenced in this book on purpose because I love all of their work and they've all been tremendous inspirations to me. So BPRD was just my simple way of saying like Magnolaverse, basically anything that he's done, short of drawing Hellboy in the comic itself. It's freaking out. This is sort of a callback to this panel. Again, I'm trying to think of how I can reference this book. So this panel, except here there's like more of an illusion trying to be kept. So it's not like quick. It's like he's like more twitching, you know, instead of doing this, because he's trying to keep his composure, and so he's like choking on the word basically, and there's like focus all up in here, all in here, in the back of his throat, on the tip of his tongue. It's a lot of just playing with a lot of ideas and thoughts and just experimenting. More goop characters down here. Just Brian McRae down here. Little just one little swipe of like basically what one of his characters looks like. I think it's Vivian, one of the duck lady characters, the one with the white hair. I basically drew her the top of her head in here because you could tell by the eyes. But that was like my way of putting him in the book. Messing with the word stuff still, obviously. And then boom, bell rings, and suddenly he's all fucking he's straight as an arrow. He's got his composure back in. All the bells are different, by the way. I didn't really like want to make one bell sound, so I just decided every room has got a different siren, alarm, whatever bell system. this is sort of kind of where I needed to start focusing on the acting and the characters and say like fuck the backgrounds. Like I need to get this story moving, and bogging it down with a bunch of details is I didn't think was necessary here. I had already done that, so we're moving along, and this character's all glitchy and not really fully rendered. So her word balloons are missing letters, 4 letters, same 4 letters in her name. So you have to like decipher basically her name in there. And this is the English class, so imagine you're learning English and language from someone that you basically can hardly understand, and that was the idea, right? So they're explaining this whole thing, and you as the reader are reading this, and it's kind of like your brain will fill in most of it. I've had people read it, and they told me it's not really a problem. But like in the middle of all this, it says reading is fun, which I thought is my little fuck you to you, the reader. Like, have fun reading this. Yeah. Pencil breaks, scribble, scribble, scribbly, diddly, widdlies. There's a whole bunch of shit in here. Uh, Again, messing with lettering, and like this is completely different, I think, from anything else that I've done in the book. This is like actually just scratchily writing the word because that's basically what he's doing in here, right? So it kind of gives you that effect, almost like you can hear it. There's John. Oh, hey, uh, Nosferatu as a student with a he's a Doomhead. Some more weird stuff on these backpacks, but he's a MF Doom listener. Concrete. This is uh, Peanuts and Bone put together, and then this is Black Star, Mostaf Talib Kweli. A lot of music and comics. All of these characters here in this panel are Gundam pilots and Ava pilots. This is Ray and Asuka, and then these are the pilots from Gundam Wing back here, and there's Hiro Yui and Duo Maxwell. This is Char. This is Amuro, and you've got the Hugh Marks. This is the guy from Gundam G Gundam. I forget his name, but yeah, all child soldiers meant to be used for war and stuff. No, 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 no foreshadowing there. Don't mind me. Kevin Bidu uh, is a local comic artist from Savannah. Melon Cat is another one. Fool, which is a Tool reference. Uh, Ciudad de Puños, which is Fifth City in Spanish, another reference to some local artists. Um, he's Jack. That's all he got in there. So these eyeballs here, these are my friend Brian's eyeballs. I asked him to take some photos of his eyeballs, and I used them as a reference for these. So those are real eyes that I drew in there. Brian is also the guy who helped me come up with the hue marks in the first place. So that's my way of him of keeping him in there in the book. Um, so he's like checking the schedule, and like the schedule has been like of no use, not even once, because he's trying to use it here, but the teacher's waiting for him, and kind of he's like trying to figure out how to use it here again. He's like, what the kind of feels like he's being watched, and it's like you won't do anything, and it's like you can do anything. And then this kid calls him over to math class. Oh boy, oh boy. I just wanted to draw like a very obnoxious looking cool guy. I wanted to see if I could do that. Abacus, intensity. So when I first started the idea, like thinking of what I was gonna do after the first 12 pages, I thought to myself like, let me make a list of ideas and let me just like kind of go with the ones that hit me first. And going to school seemed like the one to go with because I was, um, in my mind, trying to teach myself how to draw comics. So it was like, wow, I could like parallel this with my life and like make a comic about making comics, learning how to make comics. And so when I first started, I was showing the sketchbook earlier and I had like kids in it, right? My idea was that I was going to go more battle royale with this, and there were going to be like a huge war with the kids, basically, and the humors were going to have to kill these like monster kids, more or less. And I just sat on that idea like that for a long time because I didn't really know what to do with it outside of that like baseline concept, right? So I sat on it and sat on it, and then I decided to make this. And then when I was thumbnailing, I was like, what if like the kids aren't even like relevant? They're not. They're just like kind of gears in the machine, right? So they are also like not really important. And I introduced the only other people I introduced in the story originally were these characters, scientists. And I knew that they were there because in my mind, they're in the background, like watching all of this, right? So I decided to funnel all of the characters that mattered, really mattered, into the teachers. You'll see a lot of similarities between them. Even the bus driver, you'll recognize him if you if you have the villain mini, you'll recognize that character. Um, but anyway, I still thought that there needed to be a class structure to school, right? So how do I get these characters moving from getting off the bus to their first class, next class, lunch? I was like, how do Jack and John reconcile what happened in the first part of the book? There were all of these questions that I kind of had to answer, and I didn't know how to answer them, but I just like threw them into the situation anyway. And I was sort of dealing like I got to math, and I was like, I had this page drawn for the longest time with no text on it, and I was like, the math teacher is an abacus and he's going to be going on this diatribe about how math is like the answer to everything and the foundation of life and blah 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 and how math is super important. And but I'm not really all that smart, so I couldn't figure out how to like word it in a way that sounded cool for the comic. And I just got to a certain point where I was inking pages and lettering pages and getting finishing the book basically. And I was like, what if the abacus just doesn't fucking talk? I mean, math is like intimidating all on its own. So no talking abacus. And then Jack is walking in, and he falls, and he kills the abacus. So how do you have a math class? You don't. We go straight to the nurse's office, and that was like my solution for math. How do I deal with math? Like I kind of had an idea of what I wanted the English teacher to say and the homeroom teacher to say, and all of that. So I had all of that figured out, and I sort of had ideas of how to express those concepts. But math was still like I had that. I still have that in mind. Like math is the foundation of life, but the fact that he kills the abacus in the very next page is I just good. I like it. So we got the black boxes. This was me trying to figure out a different way to use them. Kind of like that. He blacks out. It's John calling out. Got this lady with these like uncomfortably large gloves and the food cube. Yum yum yum. I'm just having fun. Like this was I remember being at this point in the book and just being like, wow, I'm still having fun doing this. I've never gotten this far into anything. And I'm still like I don't know if you guys are going to be able to follow along. I don't know if this is really any good, but like in my head, I guess it makes sense. So it was easy for me to make. It was just like literally just getting to the table every day and drawing pages, but this is a movie. Thanks, Phil. This was another page that I had like written for a long time, but didn't know what to say. And I was like, okay, what if there's no words being said, but there's like the closed captioning? So it's kind of almost like dealing with the same problem with a different way, in a different way. Like, how do you deal with a silent message? You know, this is just actual silence and just like boom, bomb. You know, like if there was music here, there'd be like intense sound and then just like intenser sound. Um, and then just like breaking up of that intensity for the gag. And then here, this is like all these sound effects that you hear is what you should be hearing, right? Is the idea that I'm trying to set forth. So you've got like a caveman killing another caveman with a rock, and then you've got tribes, two different tribes like running at each other in battle in like a jungle, and then you've got samurais, and you've got um, a guy slitting some dude's throat, and British soldiers, and a nuke, and bombers, and archers on a wall, uh, uh, invasion Normandy, right? D-Day, and then you just got them like uh, watching like Mystery Science Theater. Hey, thank you so much, guys. I'm really glad that you liked it. This was weird to figure this out too. I was like, I guess I'm doing like a I don't want to like just say it outright, but here we go. Dr. Richard Mobius. It's like I guess I'm doing Moby Dick. I um I inked this with white ink and a pen nib. I like watered down the white, uh, and actually like was able to pen this out with a pen nib, and I think this is probably the best lettering in the book right here. It's these black panels here. I really really like how that came out. This is another little callback kind of to kind of just big light, just this projector shooting the light towards the screen, and then we're getting a lot of foreshadowing here of this character. Jack has kind of had about enough of this, and this is where things really start to fall apart. He's like questioning, like, "What the fuck do you want from us, man?" And this guy's bell is like a little thing on the ground, not on the ground, but on his desk. It's just like making a bunch of different noise. Getting more and more chaotic, these bells. Jack is like reaching in his pocket. He's like, fuck this schedule. Shove it up your giant butt. Then he stands up, and I really, really, actually really like how this panel came out. He basically stands up and lifts the entirety of what is the shroud of this school and just throws it off of him, and all the desks and all the things and shit that were in the school are like just falling out. Yo, what's up? What's up? I have a little star to mark this page because this was of the two people that claimed pages. This one was one of the ones claimed. So I've got a little star on this one. And Raj, who just joined, is the rightful owner of another one in here. I think I know which one he wants, which we already passed, but we'll discuss that later. But anyway, this is why I wanted to do this because I know that these pages are not going to be staying in their home here for long. So I wanted to have a flip through of the pages for posterity, and I hope this video comes out good. This is going to be on YouTube. If you're watching it on YouTube, I hope it's been okay, and because it's going up no matter what, it's the only copy of this I'm going to have. Um, so thanks for watching. I appreciate it. So this is where the um, PE teacher reveals himself, and it's the history teacher from the last class, and his suit has kind of dissolved into nothing and is now just like big white shorts and polo, and he's this big monstrosity now. And the ground is rumbling. This was like a lot of fun to draw this way. Got like waves crashing, and it's like suddenly it's like very cosmic out here. And you have this big like sports field, all these different things. This is actually my best attempt at remembering a playground that I used to go to as a kid when I went to like after school care. And then the rest is like a bunch of like just regular sports, tennis, volleyball, football field, all that. I'm messing with just about every angle I possibly can, man. I had the good fortune of showing Nick Dragata my pages, and the first 12 pages before I had even done this, and he was very nice about them and told me to pull in and pull out more with the camera. Um, so that's what I'm trying to do in a lot of this, like really get in close on a lot of stuff. But like while I get in close, there's also a super far shot in the same exact like panel. So I'm messing with things in a way that's like fun still. Just I don't know. Close ups. I don't have characters with faces, so I can't like really get in close with the angry brow and like a kooky smile or like do any of that stuff. At least not in the same way. So the shots that I choose are a little bit different, but I was trying to figure out how to play with making them uh, more interesting based on Nick Dragata's advice, basically, and very very thankful that he took the time to do that. I'm just like looking at it on the screen. Um, it is awesome. He was very very nice, and I want to send him. Actually, I'll probably email him the PDF tomorrow so that he can see that. I think this is I hope this becomes everybody's favorite page. I love these pages. I'm really happy with how these pages came out. Yeah, I was really happy with these. I don't really think I need to say much. There's one reference to comics in here, and so these characters show up and they're like, "Oh, you don't even know how to play the game. I guess we can show you how, but we're not going to go easy on you." And they're like explaining the rules. At the same time, they're like, let us show you this serve we came up with, and I decided to call the serve the head lobber. Um, as a reference to obviously Andrew McLean's head lopper. Uh, but you know, uh, so yeah, and this is like all like basically just a big setup for that. Basically, uh, I didn't know what to call it, and then it just hit me like, oh my god, that's it. I'm gonna call it the head lobber, and this is gonna be my nod to Andrew McLean in this book, and also just doing cool fucking action of this like jump in the air and twist and spiking the ball back down. I really like how this page came out. This is probably one of, if not my favorite page from the book. These two pages together, possibly. Clean. Look at that. Look at that. Look at these lines. Look at these fucking lines. Clean as shit, man. I feel really good. I feel really good about this book and everything that went into it. So the ball comes back down, and this is what I was getting at. It like flies back into the shot, and they're like jumping out of the way. So like if they hadn't, it would have taken their head off. So that's why it's called the head lobber. Um, and then this is the character jumping back down. In the book, this will be lower because I drew it too high here. You probably can't tell, but this is in the safe zone, and this is not. This top line, so this all had to get moved down. Meredith did an incredible job of fixing all of this stuff. And this is This is the moment where Jack and John kind of have a little moment where they're like not even paying attention to the game anymore, and they're just talking about like, hey, sorry about you getting eaten by that monster. I'm not gonna leave you behind ever again. He's like, oh yeah, man, that's cool. No worries. He's like, oh, you're not mad? It's like, oh no, man, I'm just hungry as hell. I'm looking for food. It's like, oh man, all I had was a gross food cube. And then these characters are still like explaining the game as if like they're still paying attention. And John's like, you got a food cube? And then the game is about to end because they've obviously not been paying attention. So the game is about to be over. But John, upset, jumps up into the air and is like, "Food cubes are riot," because he wants food. It's not fair. He didn't get a food cube, so he's upset now. They woke him up. They woke up the sleeping beast, and like in a cool guy anime, this character, which I still don't even have names for them, um, but she like takes the ball, like it like clips her cheek, like in an anime where the villain only gets like a slice on the cheek. And they're like, oh, signs of life, how exciting! And they're like, yeah, they can have a little fun, and they're like, oh, bing, bing. They're just like, having fun, trying to play the game, and they're like, yeah, let them have some fun, whatever. Fun little drawing. I like how they came out here. So Jack and John try their own cool serve, and I really like how this page came out. But unfortunately, sometimes you don't get the cool ending, and you hit the metal part instead of the ball because you're not good at the game. So his hand hits the metal part that attaches the rope and the ball. And if you've ever played tetherball and had that happen to you, that's not fun. It's not a good time. So his hand is like all fucked up, and it's like just this big. I didn't know what to make him look like in this panel, so I just basically gave him a big snake arm, wobbly noodle arm, and they're like just down here laughing at him. Uh, but then he falls, just like in the beginning. Just like in the beginning, he fell. He's like, hey man, you just fell like super high, like, and you're fine. You're walking around, so don't worry about it. So like, he's like, yeah, actually, I'm fine, right? I've set this up. I've already done this. So these are the results of what you should be expecting. So they're okay. So they get back up and they're like, all right, now we know. They're like, all right, these guys are awake now. So we get the JoJo pose, the JoJo intro. And then Jack gets finally a hit on the ball. John's like, fuck yeah. Blue blow! This is a sound that me and my friend Brian make all the time, and this was my way of integrating it into the comic in a cool way. This like cool super fucking anime like back and forth between the two sides of them hitting their big body strong characters hitting the ball like super hard until it's like basically a deflated bean, because they're so strong and powerful. And then this is like a crazy panel where they're just like playing for ages like really fast. It's like as if it's like fast forwarded or something. And then this is all of them huffing and puffing after the game is over. This is the top of the pole, and the ball is wrapped all the way around, which is usually the end of the game. So kind of don't know what happens, but then you go to the next page and you're like, oh man, you guys did great. You learned how to work together and you learn the rules fast and blah, blah, blah. We haven't played a game that good in such a long time. As a reward, and this is kind of where the system and the virus kind of disagree. It's like, reward? You don't get rewarded for playing games. And so he smashes them. Crunch, Crush, Jack and John are jumping out of the way and pop. The tetherball pole has popped out of the ground and is now like flying up into the air or whatever. And the villain is like starting to blow up into million pieces, and his brittle shell is falling apart, and you can sort of see this visor. You see the stripes. This was kind of my way of like continuing this motif of like these like the five stripes on his chest plus the visor across his eyes. Um, that's sort of like the the shape I was trying to sort of present here, and like all of this stuff about life being tougher than you're not just going to get away with this sort of like happy-go-lucky playing games and winning prizes sort of attitude. So he's trying to teach them a lesson, and they're not getting it. So fuck it. You guys don't even deserve to learn the lesson yourselves. So I'm gonna get rid of you, free you of this burden. Welcome to Die is a reference to that X-Men game. Speaking of references to X-Men, Cannonball Special. I don't think there's very many things that I love more in comics than the Cannonball Special. I think that that is one of the coolest fucking ideas I've ever seen in my entire life. And now I have a comic where I can do that anytime I want. Big body character just chucking his smaller friend into the fray, like because the small guy's gonna fucking tear shit up. I think that's awesome. Yes, I absolutely do plan to make more Q marks. There's a shit ton more Hugh marks coming. A shit ton more. This is literally just issue one. So I was saying back here, back when this was still a school comic, that I did this to learn how to make comics. So when you go from here and you get to here and you realize like what? Wait, hold on. What the fuck happened again? There's like I think it all gets explained fairly well. Um, and if not, you can just come back and watch this video. Anyway, right between the eye, John. Meredith thought that was funny. I like that face. I'm not sure how clear this is going to be. I'm not even sure how clear it is, like, to me, and I know what's happening. So, So that's the panel that goes in there, and that's why it's not in there because it's technically split between two pages. And I don't want to cut it, so it's just going to live in the front of the book. And whoever gets these pages will get this panel as well, and they can do whatever they want with it. But this is John chucking the javelin with Jack. John chucking the javelin with Jack on it, and so he's that's his butt popping out of his shorts. So these like eyeball monsters kind of all get set free here, right? And you've had these eyes like watching them basically this entire comic, right? Eyeball, eyeball, eyeball. Just lots and lots of eyes. One of these here. Oh yeah, here. There's a paper here that says Project Javelin, and it's got a bunch of. It's like got a long printed out thing. I don't know if it's very clear in the book. I hope. Oh shit. Sorry guys. I hit my headphones. Turn my headphones off. So anyway, there's a bunch of eyes. So they burst out. You're gonna see them here, like in this, like as if they've been hiding right inside of this guy's like body or whatever. And so Jack is like up here in the air, right? And he's punching all these like eye monsters, and he's like, "Fuck you!" John is basically yelling triumphantly because this is how I'm feeling, right? This is this is how I feel at this moment making this book is drawing that panel is I'm like yelling on the top of a mountain, you know. And so Jack punches one of these eye monsters like "fuck you," and then you see John shoot like as if he's running towards the camera, right? And then you see Jack falling. And he's like, "I won't," and he's just falling now, kind of almost the reverse of this, where he's falling into the black. Now he's falling out of it, and John goes from here. He's bolting, which is a callback to this moment in the book because Jack is running away from this monstrosity, where John is running towards this situation, and you've got the two, juxtapositions of those characters, the two ways of handling this kind of moment from both of them in the first issue. And this is kind of my way of coming full circle with everything, because John's not gonna abandon Jack, and that was something that Jack didn't even know. Like at the beginning of this comic, where he's questioning whether or not John's mad at him and whether or not he's gonna do all this stuff. But like here at the end of the book, where it matters, So we've got John having run, which he hates doing, by the way. If you He hates running. He'd rather punch things, but you know he's also gonna do what he's got to do to help his friend. So um, he runs and he's like basically sets up right under him and he catches him, and then you get shot kind of almost back outside. I guess this is not really like outside. This is more a artistic representation of like the turmoil going on in what is, what was presented to you earlier, right? Like it doesn't. This is not the real thing. This is it, right? This is what's really happening to these people in here. This is just what you see. This is what they're experiencing, you know. So those two pages, they line up a little bit better in the print because we, obviously like put them on top of each other. But that was my idea with these two pages, was so that they could mirror each other, and that was my way of ending the book. When I got to the end of the Fluke comic, I literally had to not ink this to save time, and it worked conceptually as well. So I'm super happy with that. But for this time, I did the exact opposite, where I said I'm not going to put any sort of artistic constraints on myself. I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want on this last page. It's going to look fucked up. It's going to look super turbulent and messed up because that's what I need it to look like. That's what the story calls for. That's what I want people to get out of it. And I think this does that well enough. So you've got the last page. Um, this won't be in the book, but I'll explain what this is here in a second. But this is like following up the last page here, and this is sort of back to this, right? So, but it's all fucked up. So we're looking at this like, whoa, okay, and the words start coming back in. It's like, oh man, it's no longer celebratory. It's no longer like, oh, we did it. Start the next thing. It's like, oh my god, what the fuck? That was a disaster. Oh god, system crash, this and that. It's like some funny jokes I tried to put in there, and then whoever's in charge is basically like, shut the fuck up. How long until we can run the next one? And then a little to be continued from anime. So yeah, there's gonna be more. What are these, right? If you noticed during the school part of the book, Jack is wearing a shirt. This is an actual shirt that I am referencing, a shirt that I wear, that I own, that I got at a Nine Inch Nails concert. It's a Nine Inch Nails shirt. I'm not going to put Nine Inch Nails on it anywhere, but that's the reference I'm making because, well, it's an actual shirt that I own, and Nine Inch Nails has gotten me through high school, college, uh, post college, everything. I still listen to them on a daily basis. So they're a very important musical reference to me. So the shirt is not just a white square. It has like a black spot uh, in it. But instead of doing that on every single page, what I did was I took my thumbprint and I just stamped it a bunch of times, and Meredith went and digitally planted them into each page, um, where you see his shirt. Meredith took like one of these thumbprints and then just like moved it around until it fit into the shirt to make it look like the design of the shirt. And I'll pull the shirt out so that you can see that. Or I'll take a photo of it. I'm gonna wear it at Heroes, so you'll see it there or whatever. Um, but it's basically one of the frames from the art of the Bad Witch uh, album that they made not super long ago. Uh, One of them is like a sunspot burst, kind of like just black in a white box. So that's what that is. So these are for like the smaller panels, and then these are for the bigger panels. And I think Meredith did a really great job with those. Um, this is like the only page with actual tone on it, screen tone. This guy's suit is the only real screen tone in the whole comic. That's kind of cool. Um, so this page, what this page is actually going to be, is the title card again, except it's going to be like this, where it's white background with black letters, and then it's going to say dedications and pinup gallery. Um, and then when you flip this page, you'll have 20 some odd, 20 plus fucking pinups to flip through. And then once you get to the last pinup, which will be technically like a draw, the Kickstarter image of them at the arcade, Jack and John at the arcade. We took that image, we dropped the opacity on it so that you could barely even see the image, and then we printed everybody's name on there. Meredith went ahead and typed out everybody's name from the Kickstarter campaign, and that's like a dedications page to everybody who backed the campaign. So you'll find yourself there, um, as well as the artists in the pinup gallery are all featured by name and Instagram account tag. Um, so that's kind of cool. And then when you get to that dedications page, that'll be here on this side, and then you'll flip the page, and then it'll be the last two pages, the last two comic pages of the book. And it's Jack and John walking out of the Hugh Marks experience, which is a little bit of a joke, poking fun at the Van Gogh experience that we went to, which was a total sham and an insult to Van Gogh. Uh, but anyway, the Hugh Marks experience, and he's like messing around talking about like, oh, they don't even sell the shirt because the shirt I just was going on about gets destroyed in the comic during the Magic Girl transformation or whatever. So this is the original pages. I don't know if it's been clear because it's kind of hard and almost. You went to it too. Oh yeah, it's very bad. So I don't know if it was very clear because we've mentioned it a couple times, but it's sort of like very almost repetitive sounding. But these two pages are not just my first two Hugh Marks pages, but they're the first two comic book pages that I put together in college, in school, when I started studying comics. Um, and honestly, probably the first two pages I ever did on 11 by 17. The closest I'd probably ever gotten is like a couple pages of shitty comics I made as a kid, but I wouldn't consider them pages. Um, and so I wanted to express that one last time and explain that like not just my first Hugh Marks comic, but my first comics in general, and this is what that looks like. I promised these to a friend of mine. Now I promised that when I was ready to get rid of them, that they would go to him, and that I would let him know when that happened. So when I finally finished these, I was like, "Hey man, you can finally have those pages now." I'm ready to give them up. I'm ready to give them to you now that I've done what I wanted with them. Now that I completed the first issue. Now that I don't feel like a fake, I guess you can uh, you can have them because if I never made any of them again, I'd like to have the only ones I ever made. But I'm confident that I can do more. So it's okay. I think it's okay to finally let these pages go. And yeah, that's it, guys. That's the whole book. That is Fantastic Amazement. No, we're not bidding on pages. But they are like, you know, they're up. They're for sale, I guess. Now that I'm done with the book, two of them have been claimed. Now that the campaign is over, they were a reward or an add-on in the campaign, and two people picked up pages. So like two of the pages are no longer like they're gonna not be in the book. I won't have the full one. No, Jerk is not one of those people. Jerk is dealing with some stuff right now. I don't think he can. Uh, no. I didn't make it cheap on purpose because I wasn't really expecting anyone to actually go for it. But if anyone did, and they did, to my surprise, two of them. Raj, Insane Leader 616 is in here. He's one of those people. Um, and one of the owner of the comic book store I go to, he also picked up a page. So you know, that's what I meant. But that's it, guys. That's the whole freaking book. Can you? I don't know. I really feel really fucking great. I've never made anything more important in my life, and I don't know. I feel really happy. I'm trying not to be emotional on stream, but I am pretty emotional about this. I'm not even sure if it's good. I don't care. I don't even care. I'm just so happy that it's made. Like I could honestly fucking cry. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. Oh. Fantastic Amazement #1. Look at this fucking thing, man. You know, that's that is not nothing. That is not fucking nothing at all. I I can't. Besides not having the book at Heroes, there's like nothing wrong with anything at the moment. Like it's literally the only shortcoming of this Heroes is that we just like I I didn't give us enough time. And I've put it on the printer and I've put it on whatever everyone besides myself, but really it's my fault for doing all of this super last minute and thinking that I could put in an order and get everything done perfectly and no problems and every hitch avoided, and it lands, at a friend's house the day before the con. That was where we were so close to getting, but we just missed it. And besides that, I can't express enough how happy and like I put a lot of commissions on pause to do this, and a lot of people who are going to Heroes who are getting commissions from me are not going to be getting those commissions at Heroes. I don't think, uh, because I don't think I'll be able to finish all of that. I don't want to rush people's commissions, but I paused them so that I could get this book done, thinking that I could get it done in time for Heroes, and the response of everybody, despite that, like cheering me on, knowing that I'm like trying to make a book and seeing that as like more important than them getting their commission as early as possible, is like really, I don't take that for granted at all. I really appreciate it. And I busted my ass this month. I fucking killed myself this month to get this book done so that I was trying to have it done so that people could pick it up and walk away from my table with it. But regardless, I kicked my own ass, and I am so like fucking proud of myself for the work that's in this book. I didn't think that this was ever going to happen. I didn't know if this was ever going to happen. I guess I didn't. Not to say that I didn't think I could do it or that I was gonna, but you don't know what you're gonna do until you do it. And I didn't know. I didn't know I could do this until I did it. And like now, I really feel like I can't be stopped. I pulled out the second sketchbook because I did a bunch of studying for this in here as well, but I kind of forget where all is. I appreciate it, guys. I really do. I I just as a this is it. These are the thumbnails, the original thumbnails before I translated them to the computer paper versions. Sorry. So these were the original thumbnails that I threw into my sketchbook because I was like, I need to fucking figure out what the fuck happened. Ooh, I need to figure out what happens in this comic. Um, so I started figuring out what goes in this comic, and I knew I wanted to use the motif from the first page again, but in the setting of a school. So I started thumbnailing much like the first one, just putting the pages together, and then I was like, okay, this is a good. I ran out of space. I was like working, and I needed more room, so I was like, okay, I need to get these. I need to get these going in a bigger space. Glad you liked it, man. Good night to you, and you'll be getting your copy soon. So thanks for stopping in. I took I took these and started translating them to these bigger pages. So this is, you can see here, I might zoom in here. Now that we're done looking at the whole book, zoom into a more normal feed. Big fat guy, remember him? That page there, see? It's the bell ringing panel right there. Homeroom. I mean, these pages don't stay this way, you know? I'm just getting the story out. And the panel structure and layout, sometimes it stays the same. Sometimes it stays exactly the same. And then sometimes it'll change completely. But some things don't change. Like this, I knew was a beat that I needed. What it ended up looking like, I had no idea, but I knew that this was like going to be a reveal of the teacher, right? And this is only 23 pages in that this happens. So there's like still 17 pages left after this. And like while I was writing it, I was like, holy shit. Like I didn't know that there was 17 pages. I was like, this is only page 23 and I'm still only here, you know? Like there's still so much to do. Hey, thank you. We will be rolling into town tomorrow in the afternoon to set up our tables. Uh, and then I think we might do dinner or something. I don't know what we're doing. Basically, the plan is just to get there and set up our tables. So that's the plan for now. And we'll see you there. Thanks, Raj. Thanks for everything. Um, good night to you. Very excited. It's already Thursday. Jesus. So anyway, I didn't know that that was not even close to the end, but we started getting into like that big football field page. Like I didn't know what was gonna go in there necessarily, but I knew I was gonna be doing some weird shit with the panels because I had been doing such kind of squared normal panels up to this point. I was like, I really need to break this up a little bit, make some weird stuff happen. Oh, it's not Thursday. It's not Thursday yet. You're right. You're right. You're right. This I yeah, it is a manga. Um, it's my manga called The Hugh Marks. We just went through a whole flip through of the book here. So yeah, um, this is my manga, The Hugh Marks. So yeah, I'm still thumbnailing here, and I'm still like, okay, this at this point, it was like, yo, we don't have time for you to draw a million page comic, so it needs to be coming to an end, and I knew that, so I was working towards the end, but I knew I wasn't there yet, so I had to kind of just keep going, and wow, this gets really chaotic. But I knew I was going to be doing a lot of time stuff because the tetherball pole was, in my mind, like the timekeeper for the comic. Like, if you see the tetherball pole and like the ball is like going back and forth like this in panels, then you know, if you've ever seen a tetherball pole, you kind of can see that in time. You know, even if it's going really fast in your mind, sort of the rhythm of it becomes a little bit clearer. Um, so this is that big page where Jack tries his big thing, and this was like my fucking shitty little thumbnail for it. I had no idea what I wanted him to look like or what he was going to be doing in this panel with the big snake arm where his hand is all messed up. That is just a scribble. No idea what the fuck is going on there. And then this panel, I knew I had him falling in here, but I wasn't sure if I wanted this panel happening here, and I decided I wanted it here, so I tacked it onto the end there. But in the end, when I drew it, I just made this panel more squat so that it could all fit in there. And that's basically how I go through my thumbnails to pencils. And if you guys saw my pencils, you'll know that they're not much. I think some of these are even tighter than my pencils. Um, so we had this. I had this scene set up for the last one, where instead of the 1, 2, 3, 4 and the pole in the middle, I had 1, 2, 3, 4 pole, and that was like another timing thing, right? Like, because you would have to go 1, 2, 3, 4 and then see the pole, and that's when you would see like, oh, the game's over. But I kind of think that having them in that like 2 and 2 not only showed you the teams, but having the pole in the middle kind of represents the game itself. Um, I thought just it looked nicer once the page was done. Oh, let me show you. This panel is this. There's the cling happening there. And there's the scribble that this turned into. And the ball kind of flopping back down, back to earth. So I got here, and it got to this Cannonball Special thumbnail, and I was like, "Oh, this is the end. I can end it here. I can like do the ending." Gotcha, buddy. And then this is what the tank page, the second tank page, started out as. It was like kind of like just continuing this motion of like everything falling in and crashing, kind of. And then this is the last page of all the scientists kind of yelling at each other. And that's it. That's the whole. Those are my thumbnails. I can't even remember what this is. Is this important? I don't think it is. I can't even tell what it is. What's up, Nicholas Cato? We just did the whole. It is not deleter paper. It's Canson, actually. It's this stuff. This is what I use. Fanboy. Yeah, I use like two or three different packs of this. Yeah, 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 yeah. They're pretty good. They come with the I don't know if you can see it, but it comes with all the all the uh, measurements and stuff already in there. So like I know where the safe area is for the lettering. So like I don't know if you could see that line, but basically this line up here and this line right here is where the words need to be so that they don't have any chance of being cut off when you trim the book for print. And it gives you like a little space. I don't use this, but it gives you a little space for the title of the book, page number, all that stuff, and it's all already drawn in there, which is nice for someone like me who I feel like if I learn how to measure out and draw my own page templates, I'll do it for every page. And that's just like time I'll never get back. So I'd rather just have it on the paper already. And it was also a good tool to help keep my work consistent in terms of like where I laid out my panels, like how far to the left I could draw a panel border if it's on the left page as opposed to if it's on the right side of the page when you open the book. Like those two layouts are different because the middle of the book is kind of like a big hole for everything to fall into. So you really don't want to draw a whole lot in the middle of the book. But in that case, your left page has a little bit more space on the right, and your right page has a little bit more space on the left. And I don't know. That's a crazy minute detail that I focus on a lot just to make sure that my pages look uh, clean. And I think when you get the book and you see it, you'll realize like how much that might help. I hope. I think that when you open the book, it looks consistent all the way through. Yeah. So the outside most line, that's like the super bleed. That's where you want the art to go to if you're doing an open panel or a splash. You want to go all the way to the edge of that. But for the word balloons, the balloons can be whatever, but the actual text have to be within the innermost box that's drawn. It's very faint. Um, and then the one in the middle, that's like the art safe zone. How do you go about getting this into a book? That is a good question, and we can answer that on another uh, stream because that's like a whole different process. And I would actually love to have Meredith on stream with me to explain that. But basically, we scan these, we take out all the pencil marks and clean up all of the stuff that we don't want in there, right? Just so to get the clean inks. And then there are templates that printing services will give you, like, hey, if you want to print your book at magazine size or standard American comic size, you need to. They'll give you their version of this like this this border with like the lines on it, and like your art needs to be within a certain degree of that. So we take the scans of all these pages and we fit them. We like crop them into the templates that they need to be in, and just move everything around. And we do that for every single page. And then you'll see I am actually going to pull up the PDF for the book so that I can do a quick side by side. Just give me one sec here, and then I'll call it a night because we got to travel tomorrow. And it's really annoying, but I can't. I don't know how to put the 2-page viewer on this. But here we go. Window. This one. No. Okay, I gotta add window. Here we go. All right. Let me see if I can. Okay. Oh my god. So this is how the page looks on paper. And this is how it's going to look in print. So Meredith went and added these digital tones to it. So like Jack and John's pants and his boots have tones on them. Jack's suit has tone on it now. You can see this part right here. So yeah. Anyway, um, you can see here it like helps break up the space. I can't really point at it on the right in the digital file, but Jack's got the tones. It helps him stand out much better on here. So anyway, this is what we do to the pages digitally to clean them up from here to here. But you can see it's like not super far off. It's not like the art has changed or anything. It's just we added the tones because you know, in my mind Jack's suit is not white, right? So like this has been needed for a long time. I don't have enough physical screen tone to do it for every page. And it's been kind of up in the air as to whether or not I would do it at all to begin with. So we're here now, and we had the time to do it, so we did. And I'm happy about it because it looks great. But this page also, like you can see Jack running on these panels on the bottom reads so much better when it's got the screen tone in there, because you can actually see his suit. You don't need to do any digital stuff to print a book. That's the beauty of it. I am trying to produce something that's maybe a little bit cleaner and stuff, but um, you don't have to do that. You know, you can just scan your work and print it as is. Just make sure that you can read it, and that's all that matters. But anyway, uh, it's a lot. This the tones really helps a lot. And what we did for the rest of the book is the tones actually follow us into the rest of the comic. So now Jack's suit, or not his suit, but his backpack has the same tone that his suit had before. So this tone that he's got on his suit is also the tone that he has on his backpack to keep the consistency. And then over here, when we get to, oh, this is another thing. The mom gets cleaned up quite a bit and reads much better like this. And then when they finally transform, that screen tone is their shorts. So the screen tone follows us all the way through the book. This is that acknowledgments page I was telling you guys about. This is the arcade page. This is all the people. Can you believe this list of people? I honestly still can't believe that this many people contributed to the Kickstarter. It's insane. But anyway, we're back to the suit. So the screen tones come back to normal here for these last few pages. And that's it. And we added a little screen tone for the street. And then this is a little dedication to Meredith, who helped me so much. This is the back of the book. So there you go, guys. Isn't it? It's insane, man. 134 people, or I guess 134 um, registered like contributors, backers or whatever. So that's insane. But yeah, this is that was the whole book. This is a 2 hour video now, so I think that's about where we should call it. I am super happy, super proud of the work. I'm glad that I did this because tomorrow uh, I'm traveling and I wouldn't have been able to. But yeah, I'm really happy with the book. I'm really excited for you guys to get it in your hands. Um, I think it's going to be really great. Even though you saw it right now, I think it's going to be completely different when you're able to hold it and like really look at things and all that. So, um, thank you. A lot of you are on that list of people. Some of you, anyway, and if you aren't on that list, don't even. I really appreciate it, and I agree. I've got great people behind me and next to me, and shoulder to shoulder with me. So I feel really great about that, and yeah, I am taking a break right now just to kind of relax and play some Diablo 4 and Street Fighter, and just kind of I literally didn't even look at a video game almost all month. So I'm taking a little bit of a time to chill and recharge my batteries, and um, basically wait for Heroes Con to come and go so that I can get back to a normal uh, life, and I'll be back to working on commissions and all of that stuff soon. I'm going to be trying to knock out as many commissions as I possibly can for Heroes, but I'm probably going to end up having to mail those. So no use in rushing. I'm not going to give anyone rushed work. So I know that everyone who's expecting a commission from me will understand. So I'm really, really, really thankful for everybody. Thanks for being here for the flip through, and I'll post it on YouTube soon, uh, this weekend, or when I get back from Heroes or whatever, it'll be up. But for those of you that caught it live, thank you. Um, yeah, and that's it. Fantastic Amazement, number one, introducing the hue marks in the can. All right. Thanks a lot, y'all. Bye. You all have a good one. Thank you. Good night.